My name is Lorian Charles. This is a review of Alabama's Code of Ethics for Teachers for Athens City School employees. Why do we even have a Code of Ethics is a question that many educators ask. The Code of Ethics itself states that the primary goal of every educator in the state of Alabama must at all times be to provide an environment in which all students can learn. In order to accomplish that goal, educators must value the worth and dignity of every person, must have a devotion to excellence in all matters, must actively support the pursuit of knowledge, and must fully participate in the nurturance of a democratic citizenry. To do so requires an adherence to a high ethical standard. Most professional organizations do have a code of ethics, and what follows is what is meant by this statement, high ethical standard. Standard 1 is professional conduct. An educator should demonstrate conduct that follows generally recognized professional standard. That means we should be able to work with our peers, to participate in professional development, to encourage and support one another. It discourages things like harassment and mishandling of test materials, using inappropriate language, fighting, and failing to provide adequate supervision. Standard 2 is trustworthiness. An educator should exemplify honesty and integrity in the course of professional practice. This means modeling and exemplifying honest, diplomatic, tactful, fair, and truthful behavior. It means advocating for fair and equitable practices for all students. It means avoiding such things as falsifying qualifications when applying for jobs, falsifying information in reports and state documents, and falsely reporting personnel and student evaluations. Standard 3 is unlawful acts. An educator should abide by federal, state, and local laws and statutes. Committing a crime of moral turpitude or being found guilty of a felony violates Standard 3 of Alabama's Teacher Code of Ethics. Standard 4 is teacher-student relationships. This standard is very important for educators because we've seen in many recent news reports that this one is violated very often. An educator should always maintain a professional relationship with all students, both inside and outside of the classroom. While it is appropriate to be a mentor, an advocate, a friend, to foster social and academic and emotional growth of students, to create a supporting and challenging learning environment for students, it is unacceptable and unethical to verbally, physically, or sexually abuse a child, to encourage in writing, by word, or by action any physical relationship, to harass a student based on race, gender, national origin, religion, or disability. I think we could even add sexual orientation here, and to furnish anything that is dangerous for a student, such as tobacco, alcohol, or illegal drugs. Standard 5, alcohol, drug, or tobacco use or possession. An educator should refrain from the use of alcohol and or tobacco during the course of professional practice and should never use illegal or unauthorized drugs. In short, faculty should not use alcohol during employment. They should not be under the influence of drugs or tobacco on school premises, and they should factually represent the dangers of alcohol, and certainly not give it to students or encourage them to use drugs, alcohol, or tobacco. Standard 6 is public funds and property. An educator entrusted with public funds and property should honor that trust with a high level of honesty, accuracy, and responsibility. It is important that educators are open, fair, and accurate in dealing with money. They must properly use school funds. They must model the proper use of school property. It's very important that educators don't misuse school-related funds. They don't mix public and school-related funds with personal funds or checking accounts. They don't use school property in a way that would be inappropriate or without having prior approval to use that property. Standard 7 is remunerative conduct. An educator should maintain integrity with students, colleagues, parents, patrons, or businesses when accepting gifts, gratuities, favors, and additional compensation. Ethical behavior means that educators will not accept gifts in order to change or use school policies, and they're not using their position for personal gain. Unethical behavior includes soliciting students or parents to make purchases that are of personal gain to the educator, accepting gifts from vendors and potential vendors for personal use where it appears to be a conflict of interest, and tutoring students assigned to the educator for payment, unless this has been approved by the local Board of Education. Standard 8 is maintenance of confidentiality. An educator should comply with state and federal laws and local school board policies relating to confidentiality of student and personal records, standardized test materials, and other information covered by confidentiality agreements. It is important that we keep in confidence information about students that has been obtained through jobs. That includes personal information, discipline, medical, health-related information, and all other information that is protected. It also means maintaining diligently the security of standardized test supplies and resources. Sharing any information about a student with unauthorized personnel is a violation of the Code of Ethics, as well as violating confidentiality agreements related to standardized testing. Standard 9 is abandonment of contract. An educator should fulfill all the terms and obligations detailed in the contract with the local school board of education or educational agency during the duration of the contract. If you leave your contract without giving the appropriate time, or if you refuse to perform the services required by the contract, you are in violation of Standard 9. Consequences are very clear-cut and very detrimental for educators. Violating any of these ethical standards could result in losing one's job and/or one's teaching certificate temporarily or permanently. It's something no educator should want to risk. So here are some takeaways and preventative measures that all educators can use to make sure that they are following the Alabama Code of Ethics. 1. Maintain a professional relationship with students at all times. Avoid being alone with students for extended periods of time, and this even includes giving rides home. 2. Always follow state and local guidelines for the handling of testing materials. Make sure that those resources are protected and all guidelines are followed. 3. Keep accurate financial records according to school guidelines. Mixing money is an easy way to violate the ethics code and to lose one's job. 4. Avoid any activities that might be considered questionable. When in doubt, leave it out. Don't do anything that could possibly be construed as a violation of an ethics code. And lastly, be careful what you post on social media. We often see violations taking place because of what educators are posting online. It's a personal space, but it's also public for viewing and, unfortunately, for judgment. No educator wants to risk his or her livelihood by violating this code of ethics. So be vigilant, be wise, and always be the best professional that you could be. Thank you.